News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
It's now 4:05 as we begin KVNU's For the People show on this Wednesday. I'm Will Feelright with your news headlines this hour. Of course, we are also under a flood watch from the National Weather Service that is in effect until tonight, as we have seen some thunderstorms throughout the area, mainly to the east of Bear Lake this afternoon. But we're hoping that we'll see some moisture come from this storm as it passes through, expected to be out of here by tonight. Well, our top story, state leaders announced $50 million in total available grants yesterday to try to help Utah's rural agricultural producers expand their local processing and improve distribution. Now, that inevitably would hopefully lower food costs for residents. Now, the initiative immediately opens $11 million in funding, and officials say the goal is to reduce reliance on large corporate supply chains and keep locally grown products within the state. Now, Val J. Rigby, who's president of the Utah Farm Bureau, said that any time that they can process their food closer to home, they don't add more costs onto it, noting that Utah currently produces only 2 to 3% of its fruits and vegetables locally. Now, funding all stems from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which is backed by the Make America Healthy Again movement. Now, Utah Department of Agriculture and Food Commissioner Kelly Fearson said that officials hope that expanding local capacity will reduce margins and ease grocery costs for consumers. Meanwhile, independent Utah House District 3 candidate Patrick Belmont has released a 10-page critique of the draft environmental impact statement for the $3 million Logan River watershed project, arguing that it fails to address long-term water conservation. Now, the proposed project aims to manage agricultural water, prevent flooding, and boost recreation by reconstructing canal diversions and building downstream storage. However, Belmont claims that the plan neglects water demand reduction and also miss opportunities to restore ecosystems and protect the Great Salt Lake. Now, Belmont, a former Utah State University professor, said his concern is that the options presented reflect an artificially narrow framing of the challenges that's facing Cache Valley. Now, Belmont, who previously ran as a Democrat, is facing first-term incumbent Representative Jason Thompson in the November 3rd general election. Now, District 3 encompasses Logan, River Heights, and Richmond, and Belmont's complete assessment is available on his website. And finally, the family of First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan, the 25-year-old Southern Utah University student who was killed in action in the Middle East, is being remembered as an adventurer and a mentor as his remains have returned to the United States. Now, Feehan was among several service members who were killed and wounded in the recent Middle East attack. Now, his remains arrived at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware this morning for a dignified transfer. Now, Feehan's parents, Stephen and Shari, said that in just 25 years, Tyler had packed more into living than most people can manage in a lifetime. And then he noted his love for adventure and dedication to leading his other soldiers. Now, to honor his legacy, Feehan's family have launched a scholarship fund for ROTC cadets, seeding the program with his military death gratuity. Now, the scholarship will start at his alma mater with plans to expand to other universities and active duty members. Well, we still have this possibility of isolated showers, thunderstorms through the area as temperatures been a little cooler, which has been nice as we've stayed in the mid-80s. And now tonight, we'll drop into the low 60s. Now, we'll see temperatures back in the 80s for tomorrow as the storm moves out of the area, but 90s will be returning for Pioneer Day Friday. And weather this hour is brought to you by our friends at Whole Tree Care. With over 30 years of experience, they can safely trim, shape, and remove trees around your home, and mainly keeping your home safe, especially if you have dangerous trees that could cause damage to your home. Give Whole Tree Care a call. They can take care of them for you. 760-6587. It's Whole Tree Care. And KVNU News Time is now 4:09, and Jason Williams and KVNU's For the People show is coming up next.
Hey, business owners, when it comes to your commercial insurance policies, you deserve the best. This is Matt Robbins with the Alera Group, formerly Quality First Insurance. As an independent auto owners agency, we have access to many carriers and will give you options. We work hard to protect your business because you've worked hard to build it. Let's give your insurance package a fresh look. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Give us a call, 435-752-0101.
Reporting the news that matters to you. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, your number one radio station for news and talk.
Speed Queen, commercial grade motor, stainless steel guts. This machine don't quit, no ifs, ands, or buts. Commercial grade from top to base, built to keep a steady pace. So buy Speed Queen, buy Speed Queen. Toughest darn washer you've ever seen. Buy Speed Queen at Daryl's Appliance in beautiful Cache Valley.
When you buy from Daryl's Appliance, you get more than just a washer. You get service after the sale. Daryl's, west on Airport Road.
Got metal? Turn it into cash fast. At Valley Recycling, we pay cash on the spot for aluminum, copper, steel, any metal you've got. Old appliances, scrap from a job site, cans you've collected. If it's metal, we're buying. No hassle, no waiting. Just pull up, drop off, and get cash. So clean up the garage, yard, barn, or shed and bring us your scrap metal. We're Valley Recycling at 145 North 10th West in Logan and valleyrecycling.com.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM. Online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Wednesday, July 22nd. I'm Jason Williams. 82 degrees, a cool, chilly 82 degrees. 10 degrees lower than yesterday at this time here at 4:12 in the afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. It is a short week for us, of course, no show on Friday. So just a reminder, after the For the People Theater Hour tomorrow with Charlie Schill, our traditional 4 o'clock Thursday segment, we're actually going to, at 5 o'clock, transition into the For the People movie show for arts and entertainment buffs. Tomorrow's show is all for you. Andy and I talked with no show on Friday. We thought about just kind of postponing, but with the Odyssey making some breaking some records as far as ticket sales, with Spider-Man, the fourth Spider-Man movie coming out or releasing a week from now. There's just so much going on, and then a huge trailer drop happened earlier this week as well. So, well, technically on Sunday. So there's a lot to talk about. Andy will be joining us tomorrow at 5 o'clock, a rare Thursday For the People movie show, and then, of course, special programming on Friday for the holiday. So hope everybody has fun plans. It's going to be warm. It just, we're not unused to that, right? It does feel, I don't know if it's age or what, but the heat is hitting me worse this year than it traditionally does. I always get a little bit whiny when it gets this hot for this long, but I've also lived here most of my life, so it is something I'm used to in July and the early weeks of August, those dog days, but it seems a little more oppressive this year. I'm just chalking it up to age. If anyone else has a theory, I'd love to hear it. 753-5868. I did have a friend mention that part of it is, that we haven't had those traditional offsets. You have those, sometimes June. I remember a June when I was a teenager. And the reason I remember this is I had a group of friends that I'm still friends with today at the time had access to some land on the East Beach of Bear Lake, some private land. And we had plans to go enjoy that every weekend after school got out. And we all had our licenses. We all had, enough freedom at least and trust with our parents. We could go camping for a weekend. And we just go over there and literally, probably not the smartest idea, sleep on a tarp on the beach. I say not the smartest idea because there was a rattlesnake incident once. But it was just, it was something we'd planned to do. And I remember it rained every weekend through that entire June that year. So, we do oftentimes have those really wet springs or even sometimes cool springs. I remember hard freeze warnings in early June. So maybe without those offsets, the heat feels a little more, maybe it's been hot and dry, or at least warm and dry for so long that you just kind of get tired of it. Anyway, I'm not done with summer, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to complain as much as summer wraps up and we trend into fall this year. Speaking of all of this, we talked a little bit about it yesterday. I recommended that people keep a close eye on their city websites and social media channels. We do have some more information today regarding cities here in Cache Valley and how they're handling the fireworks things. Rising fire danger, of course, worse than it was even on the 4th. It's just been hotter and drier since the 4th. And we did get one pretty decent, about 20-minute rainstorm in the south end of the valley last week, but really not enough to change situation much when it comes to the dry and ready-to-burn fuel out there. As I mentioned yesterday on the show, and also you can read these stories at CacheValleyDaily.com, there have been fires. There's a fire out in western Box Elder County sparked by lightning, but there have been several fires in northern Utah just in the last few days in residential areas. It's just that dry, and even a little patch of unmowed grass outside of a fence line or in an area in your new subdivision that isn't quite developed yet. Firefighters are having to deal with, it was not downtown, but in the suburban area of Providence, quite a ways away from the foothills, but a fire that could have burned straight up through the rest of the residential area. It was a grass fire that damaged a shed and part of a home in Providence. It's just really dry out there. So in light of that, Governor Spencer Cox heightened restrictions following statewide guidance from fire officials, talking with fire marshals around the state forester, all of that. Of course, this happened via executive order emergency declaration ahead of the July 4th holiday. Same as playing out here for the 24th. And Cache Valley, again, it's volatile out there. Drying grasses, continued low humidity, although today doesn't feel like it. And in general, the moisture levels in vegetation are lower than they've been since 2021. I got that information from an individual at the Utah Climate Center today when I called to get a bit of an update. Logan City officials announced that they'll be maintaining just the existing fireworks restrictions. They pointed to a grass fire just this week that nearly burned out of control. Hats off to firefighters on that one, by the way. That could have been so ugly, and they got that under control quickly. Providence, I already mentioned, they dealt with a fire just this week in a crowded residential area. And so Providence joining Logan concern, but also securing a variance through the state. Let me back up. So to explain what the governor announced, heading into July 4th, the governor announced that there was a statewide personal fireworks ban, and cities could petition the state forester's office, the governor's office, everyone involved, for an exception to have a certain area of the city that was not off limits to personal fireworks. Hiram and Wellsville, for example, on the 4th had three block by 6 block kind of downtownish portion of the city where personal fireworks were allowed. One day only, the day of the holiday. That's now flipped. The governor has said that the state now is not going to, force a statewide personal fireworks ban, but they encourage cities to do whatever they did on the 4th that works. And if they want to do something different than that, then they need to request a variance. So Providence is pushing a variance to extend a personal fireworks ban through the 24th of July weekend as well. And that is, again, in light of the brush fire that ignited there just this week and general conditions out there. Providence officials in a statement on the city website said the land is still very dry and susceptible. And while consumer fireworks are going to be prohibited in Logan and Providence because of that. So sparklers and those those popping fireworks, the really irritating ones, things like that. I don't even know if you can still buy them. The snakes. There are some fireworks that don't emit enough heat or spark and don't go into the air in any way, shape, or form. That could be, safely used personally in a driveway or in the street in front of your home if you want to take the risk of getting run over, things like that. But anything that goes in the air, anything that produces a spark, more than a foot or two high, is going to be a risk. So there are commercial displays. Utah State University and North Logan will be, doing a show of some sort. North Logan, to give you an update, has enacted a total ban on personal fireworks through the holiday, similar to Providence and Logan. And the details on this, by the way, you can read at cachevalleydaily.com. Will Philwright has a good summary of kind of what's going on out there. But fire professionals in North Logan warned the city, just to give you an idea of why the cities are doing this, the fire officials in North Logan said the fuel moisture levels in sage and juniper surrounding the city are right now what they consider an extreme hazard. So the city will be continuing, unless weather changes greatly than what the forecast predicts. The city, North Logan City, will continue with their public fireworks display at Elk Ridge Park. And the fire crews can be there and ready for a professional display like that, rather than trying to handle a whole city. Around the valley and surrounding areas of Cache Valley, Mendon, Petersboro, Cobblestone, full-on ban on personal fireworks. Makes sense if you've driven through there, or even just take a look to the west out there by Mendon. Yeah, you don't have to be a scientist at the State Forester's Office to know fireworks probably not a great idea out there. Mendon, of course, like North Logan and the university, will host a professional display. This is part of, by the way, we talked about this earlier this week, and you can also see a full rundown of events. But Mendon this whole week celebrates Pioneer Day. They started on Monday, and it goes through Saturday, and so that will commence with a fireworks display on the 25th. At City Square, and so they're planning that. They've hired a professional company. They've got fire crews are aware of it and will be on hand. Roughly around the valley, it's no better than July 4th, a little worse than July 4th. So check with your city to be absolutely sure, but for the most part, no change from what we saw on July 4th, though the governor's office did kind of relax things a little bit and say the cities can ask for a little more if they can show that, the citywide fireworks would be safe. Basically, no cities are asking for that. What they did on the 4th apparently worked, and we'll be doing much of the same. So Smithfield is an exception. Smithfield residents, so the Smithfield Mayor Aaron Rudy and Fire Chief Jeremy Hunt, quoted in the Cache Valley Daily story here, I'm getting this from, scaled back they shrunk the allowable discharge zone and moving it even further away from the East Bench and some of the agricultural areas out and scattered around Smithfield on the west even. So Smithfield residents, personal fireworks will be allowed, but only between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. From today until for Saturday, with an extension until midnight in Smithfield on the 24th. But fireworks are entirely banned in all city parks, including the Forster Acres, a popular spot, and they are planning to aggressively patrol. They're warning residents that violations of fireworks bans outside of the allowed zone, well, you can see a map of that on the city website and Facebook page, outside the allowed zone or outside of the time frames and outside of the days allowed, they will be enforcing a $1,000 fine. Hyde Park, Hyde Park has gone more of specific types of fireworks ban. So they've banned all consumer fireworks from the 22nd to the 25th, with an exception permitting novelty items. If you're west of 4th East in Hyde Park. So, Nibley, the one big exception. Nibley officials are permitting for personal fireworks west of State Route 165. That does include public parks and parking lots. And they said that they made the decision after consulting with the state forester and said that Nibley was the one spot in the valley, mainly because of their location, where fire risks were a bit reduced, mainly due to the forecasted weather throughout the holiday. So basically everything the same as the 4th. Check with your city, of course. They may have adjusted the map. They may have changed the map by a block or two on where fireworks are allowed. If your city banned fireworks entirely on the 4th, most likely still the case for the 24th. Again, with the exception of Nibley, where things have been relaxed due to advice from the state forester. They felt that it would be possible in Nibley to permit personal fireworks, but again, only west of State Route 165, and that excluding, again, public parks and parking lots. So they are basically trying to keep people from grouping together and setting off a whole bunch of fireworks in one spot. Check it out. Again, if you're unsure, check your city's social media pages and main website for maps and things like that. But in general, again, it sounds like things will be much the same for the 24th, with a little relaxing of restrictions in Nibley and Smithfield. But other than that, everyone else doing pretty much what they did on the 4th. And again, Logan, Providence, some other areas, Mendon, full-on ban on personal fireworks entirely. So the fines are stiff, and they are going to be. They've in fact, I heard that they've even reached out to Highway Patrol and others to help them enforce that over the coming days. So don't risk it, and even above and beyond the potential $1,000 fine, being responsible for the cost of putting out the fire and any property damage. That $15 firework you really want to light in your driveway, it could be a very expensive mistake. And then, of course, you get your name in the news. So let's just not. We'll be back right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Hi, this is Brooke Stevenson.
And David Castor with Adams Wealth Advisors. We're truly honored to be named Best of Northern Utah Gold winner for the best financial planner. This community means everything to us, and we're grateful for every customer who made this possible. Thank you for your trust.
Advisory services offered through Adams Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. For important disclosures and more information, visit adamswealthadvisors.com. That's adamswealthadvisors.com.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson of Wilson Motor Company. It's the final days of our 83rd anniversary sale, our biggest sales event of the year. We have reduced prices on over 330 Ford, Nissan, and pre-owned vehicles. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com or drop in for a test drive at one of our two great locations, 328 North Main or our pre-owned superstore next to the Olive Garden. Hurry in, the 83rd anniversary sale ends on August 1st.
Wilson Motor Company, we make car buying easy.
This is Lee. For years, Cache Valley has trusted Lee's Plumbing to take care of your plumbing needs. And now we're teaming up with Any Hour Services to provide even more support to Cache Valley homeowners. Mike?
Thanks, Lee. I'm Mike Wilson from Any Hour Services. We're excited to team up with Lee's Plumbing, giving homeowners one team to call for plumbing, drains, heating, cooling, and electrical.
Same trusted service, more ways to help around your home. Lee's Plumbing
and Any Hour Services.
Better together. Schedule your service today.
Thursday edition, Clay and Buck will break down the absolute latest on everything going on in Iran. Also, as we continue to move closer to Maine officially selecting a Senate candidate, what does that look like for the overall battleground? And the Odyssey, worth seeing or not worth seeing? We will discuss all that and more. You won't want to miss it. Thursday edition, Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Kind of surreal following up all this talk of fireworks bans throughout Cache Valley due to dry conditions and fire risk, with a story about the governor declaring a state of emergency for flooding. But the governor Spencer Cox declared a state of emergency in 3 Utah counties over widespread flooding, Beaver County, Paiute County, and Sevier County. And they've been just hammered by flooding. Most of this a result of the largest fire in the country still, although it's much more contained now, and less of a concern of catastrophic direction change and things like that. It's left it's left about 100,000 plus acres of burn scar, and still adding to that. Not completely out yet. There was also the Moreau Canyon fire that left some pretty significant burn scars. Between the two, the monsoon rains, just massive flash flooding down there, and it's basically sweeping all that ash and burned dead trees and shrubbery out of those areas down into the rivers, under the bridges, and into some of the towns. Even some video of that being shared yesterday. So. The emergency declaration is a 30-day executive order. Unless the legislature decides to extend it, they would have to meet in special session to do that. And the whole point of it is that an executive order declaring a state of emergency triggers state and federal funding resources for cleanup and infrastructure repair. The governor said in a statement with the announcement that these areas have, quote, endured an incredible, difficult wildfire season already. If you remember the Cottonwood fire, it was like rolling 2-day evacuations for residents in many of those towns around Beaver and in Beaver County, in Beaver County and surrounding areas. And I can't talk today, which is horrible when you have a radio show. The governor said already an incredibly difficult wildfire season for all these people. Now many of these same communities have faced life-threatening flooding caused by those very fires. For those who don't understand how this works, because it doesn't make sense, right? What does a fire have to do with flooding? The fire basically cuts through and creates a new wash for all the water. So you get those monsoon rains, and instead of channeling into the traditional channels, it just runs down the burn scar. So you have a new channel that is not in any way controlled or directed by, natural erosion and things like that, because it's brand new. And it ends up in places that it normally doesn't go, and with a force that, rivals the biggest cat bulldozers. So these communities, the governor said, he said the declaration ensures we can continue to provide every available resource to help local communities respond, recover, and prepare for predicted continued flooding throughout the remainder of the summer. Honestly, it's not done. This also, these floods also impact infrastructure in a way that in Junction, Paiute County, just earlier today, a boil warning was issued because the flooding had actually caused enough ground shifting and underground erosion in certain areas that they couldn't guarantee that the drinking water system was safe to drink. Paiute County emergency management officials said people should also avoid drinking any water without boiling it first, and that they added that based on what they're seeing so far, it's safe for showering and other uses, but don't drink with it, and don't use it in cooking unless it's going to be boiled. They have stacked bottled water photo that I've shared on our Facebook page. The Paiute County Junction Firehouse, literally just a gigantic bottled water storage area right now. And the flooding, again, as the governor said in his statement, isn't done. So they can't tell residents how long they're going to need to boil their water for drinking. Just to kind of put it in context. The City Creek campground upstream of Junction completely closed by the fire. A lot of people were hoping it would be. This is a popular area for people around the state to come around the Fish Lake National Forest area. And this huge campground is just going to be permanently closed for the year now. It was closed because of the fire. Fire moves on, gets under control, at least mostly, and firefighters get it under control, and then the floods come, campground demolished. So yesterday was a tough day in a lot of areas around there, the Beaver area and the west and east ends of that canyon. So about 200 homes have been damaged by the flooding that started Sunday. So 200 homes since Sunday have been damaged. Many of the roads and, again, both sewer and water infrastructure, electrical infrastructure. It's a bad situation. So Beaver residents, again, have been told to drink bottled or boiled water for a few days now, but now popping up in Junction and other areas as well as they see damage from these floods, or as they understand more of the damage from the floods and the fire before that. So I talked about this yesterday already, but most of State Route 153, which links Beaver and Junction, gone. It's in the news reports you see closed because of flood damage. Doesn't do it justice. I've posted some video that was taken by a Utah Department of Public Safety helicopter on our Facebook page. It's about a football field length on one of the tightest curves right along, following the shape of the river, basically, on State Route 153, just completely gone. And everything below the pavement, too, gone. So it's a tough situation. Marysville, Circleville also issuing boil orders, and flooding near the Merle Canyon burn scar has damaged some homes. That was reported just earlier today as well. So the governor, again, ordering a state of emergency through executive order, triggering some funding to make response a little quicker. But again, we're in the early parts of the monsoon season, and National Weather Service says that the West Desert, parts of central Utah, will remain under flood watch throughout today into tomorrow, possibly into the weekend, depending on how these storms develop. So for those traveling down there, we did get a question about this. I'm not familiar with the area, but someone asked if because of the damage to the state route and others, if there was still access to the Beavers Grove area. I am not familiar with where that is or what that is, but I did some Googling and actually found a news story, Deseret News, reporting that there is no access to Beavers Grove, the Beavers Grove area, and all other areas surrounding are still under evacuation since Sunday due to the threat of more flooding. That was a statement I found through a search, and ran across the Beaver County Sheriff's Department saying so in a statement. So Sheriff's Department there in Beaver County says the weather forecast is looking more favorable over the next few days, and they're hoping conditions will improve, but just no way to say as we enter the earliest parts of monsoon season. So one last quick thing in the Weather Service information out there, the flood watches and things like that for southern and central Utah. Today, the Weather Service added northern Utah for the first time this year, including Logan and some of the mountain communities east of the Wasatch Front, Brighton, and so these flood watches not contained to central and southern Utah. So we'll keep you updated, of course, as we learn more, and stick around. More For the People after the news with KVNU's Will Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. A 46-year-old Smithfield man is facing a first-degree felony rape charge and multiple misdemeanors following an investigation into allegations that he sexually assaulted an underage girl at his home, according to court records. Now, Justin Craig Taylor appeared last week in Logan's First District Court, charged with object rape and 3 counts of sexual battery, along with 1 count of furnishing alcohol to a minor. Now, according to a probable cause statement, Taylor befriended 2 underage females at a local business before inviting them to his residence. Now, while there, Taylor allegedly offered cash for them to remove their clothing, touched the victim inappropriate despite her explicit demands for him to stop, and provided both minors with alcohol. Now, Smithfield City Police further alleged that Taylor molested one victim from behind when she was playing a game of darts. Now, Taylor, who is currently out of bail, faces a preliminary hearing coming up next month, where he could face up to life in prison if convicted. Meanwhile, 2 men have been arrested following an alleged aggravated robbery and kidnapping that happened in Mill Creek, according to the Unified Police Department. Now, Wyatt Hansen and James Waterman were booked into the Salt Lake County Jail on charges of aggravated robbery and aggravated kidnapping. Now, authorities said that Hansen and Waterman had lured the victim to a residence earlier this week under false pretenses. Now, once the victim arrived, the pair allegedly confronted them with weapons, prevented them from leaving, and then robbed them. Now, the victim managed to escape the residence and report the incident to law enforcement. Police indicated the investigation remains ongoing as they now work to identify others who may have been involved in the incident. And a tragic accident occurring earlier this week in Nevada. 4 Californians, including a 13-year-old boy, were killed Monday in a 2-vehicle collision that happened near Wells along Highway 93 after a driver lost control while attempting to pass another vehicle. Now, according to the Nevada Highway Patrol, a southbound Honda Odyssey minivan had crossed the center line to pass another vehicle when it lost control and then struck an oncoming Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. Now, the Toyota driver had swerved but could not avoid the front-to-front impact. Now, the Honda's driver, along with passenger and the 13-year-old boy, all from Union City, California, died at the scene of the crash. Meanwhile, a passenger in the Toyota from San Diego also was killed. Now, surviving occupants, meanwhile, were transported to local hospitals in critical condition. The crash remains under investigation by the Nevada Highway Patrol. Well, your weather forecast still calling for scattered showers, thunderstorms through the rest of the afternoon and tonight, as temperatures have been a little cooler today into the mid-80s, and now tonight will drop into the mid to low 60s. Tomorrow, back into the mid-80s, but then warming up into the 90s again on Friday, as we're going to see another hot weekend headed our way. And weather this hour is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. When it comes to cleaning up your car, they have Chemical Guys car wash and detailing kits on sale for just $49.99. It's at Napa Auto Parts. They have 5 locations, all locally owned and operated from Preston to Providence. You can trust Napa Auto Parts. And for KVNU News, I'm Will Theoright.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Tropical storm Bertha making landfall in St. Bernard Parish, east of New Orleans in Louisiana. Governor Jeff Landry says it is a welcome break.
The storm is likely not to produce the type of rainfall or wind event that it could have.
The storm is losing some steam. Officials say residents, though, should remain vigilant and that the storm could troll the coastline with heavy rain, severe flooding, and damaging winds as it moves toward Texas in the coming days. In Delaware, President Trump and top military leaders gathered for the dignified transfer at Dover Air Base today for the 4 U.S. service members killed in the Middle East. 3 of those service members have been identified. 1 has not yet been positively ID'd. Fast food chain Chick-fil-A says the recent cyber attack in June likely exposed personal information of its loyalty account holders. The data includes names, email, and phone information in the last 4 digits of some credit cards. The company says it took immediate security measures. This is ABC News.
Weeds don't take the summer off, and now, neither does Logan Extermination. Their new specialty lawn spray isn't temperature sensitive, so it keeps fighting weeds even during the hottest days of summer. For just $55, they'll treat up to 1,000 square feet, targeting tough weeds like dandelions, thistle, and the king of all weed kings, morning glory. Call Logan Extermination today at 435-752-8450. That's 752-8450. Online at loganextermination.net, a division of Anderson Seed and Garden.
Bringing Wall Street to Main Street. From your local experts in downtown Logan, this is the Adams Wealth Advisors Market Report.
Hi, this is Scott Levitt with Adams Wealth Advisors. Although everyone likes to see the market rally, it's been getting harder for those rallies to last. Stocks slipped again today as several concerns continued to weigh on investors. One major issue is the growing scrutiny over how much money big tech companies are spending on AI infrastructure. Capital expenditures continue to climb, and investors are beginning to question whether those investments will generate enough returns. At the same time, the conflict in the Middle East is adding more pressure. The United States and Iran have expanded their strikes against each other while continuing to downplay the chances of diplomatic talks. That uncertainty has kept Brent crude oil above $90 a barrel for a second straight day. The bond market is paying close attention because higher oil prices can fuel inflation, which reduces the value of bondholders' returns. Ongoing concerns about the U.S. fiscal outlook are adding to that pressure as well. The 5-year Treasury yield rose 4 basis points to a new high for the year at 4.41%. The 10-year Treasury yield gained another 3 basis points and now sits just a fraction below its 1-year high at 4.66%. Gold also moved higher as deleveraging in the gold market eased and investors once again turned to the traditional safe haven asset amid rising geopolitical uncertainty. As for today's market performance, the Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped just 6 points to 52,219, continuing to show its defensive characteristics. The Nasdaq fell 0.57% to 25,691, while the S&P 500 declined 0.14% to 7,499. Overall, investors rotated back into hard assets, while technology and labor-intensive stocks came under pressure. Tomorrow, all eyes will be on Alphabet's earnings report, which could provide an important test of the market's long-term AI investment thesis. Adams Wealth Advisors will be back tomorrow to keep you informed.
That's your update from Adams Wealth Advisors, guiding your financial future one day at a time. For personalized help planning yours, reach out to us at 435-752-1702. See you soon, Cache Valley. Advisory services offered through Adams Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. For important disclosures and more information, visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
Got a bit off the clock with all of the gloom and doom of the floods and fireworks restrictions and all of that. No, I'm kidding. We'll be okay, right? We've dealt with floods before, but man, my heart goes out to people in southern Utah. Just what a year. And again, rolling evacuations from fires, now dealing with floods and, sewer and water systems that have been taken out, boiling your water, and trying to just go on with regular life in the middle of all this. Yeah, heart breaks for them. But we'll move on for now. Also kind of a sad story, but it taught me about something I didn't know existed, which I'm kind of happy does exist. Not something I would probably ever use. I've never been big into the RC model airplane thing, but I know people who are, and I didn't know this. Maybe you all did, but in Magna, outside of Magna, owned by Salt Lake City, even though it's outside the city's boundaries, is they call it a Modelport. This is a little mini airport that exists. Its official name, the Salt Lake City Modelport. You can actually get to this via the Salt Lake City Parks and Rec Department. It's on their official website. Again, owned by Salt Lake City, even though it's outside the city's boundaries, out of Magna, or just west of Magna. It's about 550 feet of paved runway, little mini hangars for storage in inclement weather if you're out there. And it draws hundreds of people a summer to this area. Salt Lake Tribune, though, is highlighting this because they are having some problems out there where people who use this model airport on a regular basis have actually not been able to get to the airport because of all the illegal dumping. Ben Wheeler in the Salt Lake Tribune story, who has been doing this for years apparently, he heads out there at least once a week, he says, with his radio-controlled jets. He has an F-22 Raptor, RC Raptor. I kind of want to see that or even play with it a little bit. But he says that he headed out there recently. This is way out west on California Avenue, for those who are familiar with the area. He says that he headed out there recently, and someone in the roadway had literally dumped a bunch of construction materials and old furniture, likely out of a house renovation. He said it looked like. And he said there were nails all over the road, broken construction tools, a bunch of lumber that looked old, like it had been ripped out of a house that was being renovated, some old furniture, chunks of broken and water-damaged sheetrock. And he said the load was big enough that it couldn't have been done with a pickup truck. He said this was a trailer or even someone with a dump truck. And they dumped it right in the middle of the road. So he was not able to go out and use the model airport that day. Salt Lake City's Public Lands Department and Police Department are on this. And they've been noticing that the model airport has maybe become also an area for less than legal behavior. Some people recently arrested for exchanging cash for illicit substances out there, drug dealing. But the major problem, they say, has been that because of its remote location and because of fees at the landfill that people obviously want to avoid, people are going out there and dumping. That's too bad. This is a really cool thing. I honestly did not know this existed. Salt Lake Tribune has some photos, including a photo of Ben Wheeler's F-22 Raptor. That's just cool, actually. The pilots build these first. So these aren't purchased, right out of the box. You go fly it. You have to actually buy the kit, and you build them, and you have to build them right, or they don't fly. And then you go out and fly them at this little mini airport way out west on California Avenue, just outside of Magna. In the story, there's another gentleman, Eddie Volek, I think is how you'd pronounce his name, says he's been doing this for 35 years. And his 14-year-old son, Paolo, has gotten into it as well. They're actually members of something called the Utah Valley Aero Modelers Club, which is based in Saratoga Springs. And they specialize in World War II era bombers and fighters, prop planes that they build. A photo of one of their planes in the Salt Lake Tribune story as well. I didn't know this was a thing. They said that the model airplane clubs here in Utah have nearly 3,000 members statewide total, and that once or twice a year they all meet up at the Salt Lake City facility, Salt Lake City owned facility, but actually again outside of Salt Lake City's boundaries near Magna, and they take part in a regional competition, basically doing sort of what you would see at an air show. I had no idea this existed. Apparently, everyone else did. Then Salt Lake City Mayor Jackie Biskupski did a ribbon cutting ceremony when the airport was first built, this model airport, back in 2016. By the way, it was built by the modelers themselves. They actually designed it, did the paving, did the landscaping and everything, built the little mini hangars where they can park them should a rainstorm come through. And the city just basically opened the gate for them. And so they did everything else. There are clubs here in Cache Valley and Weber County, according to the Salt Lake Tribune story. And this is the closest model port that anyone in Utah would have access to. There is one apparently outside of Boise and another near Denver. So this one in Salt Lake would be used by model airplane pilots and constructors throughout the state of Utah, and a lot of people apparently from Idaho come down to it as well. So they are asking residents to provide any information, but they're also just asking people to stop dumping their garbage out in the West Desert there, especially on the roadways, but in general, and have a little more respect for not only the model airport, but the surrounding wilderness area. Some photos of this. Again, somebody just dumped he said the Wheeler in the story tells the Salt Lake Tribune it was way too much to be a pickup truck. So they either made multiple loads or it was a dump truck or a trailer full of likely, construction garbage from a home renovation. And they just came out probably in the middle of the night, dumped it in the middle of the road. And the model airport users couldn't actually get to the airport that day. City had to come out and clean it up at taxpayer expense. So I did not know this existed. Some really cool photos, and including, by the way, Ben Wheeler's F-22 Raptor model has a little Darth Vader action figure in the pilot seat. Very cool. some great photos and a story about something at least I didn't know about, Salt Lake City's model plane airport, way out there west on California Avenue. Open, by the way, this is free. If you are a model airplane fan or want to become one, the airport itself is free. You just have to show up. All right. We'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People right after this.
For 50 years, Discount Tire and Automotive has kept families moving safely. Celebrate our milestone 50th anniversary sale now through August 20th with our biggest deal of the year. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th free. Plus, get a $50 alignment with any 4-tire purchase and save up to $200 on top brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Need mechanical repairs? Take 5% off to celebrate. Thank you for 50 great years. Visit us in Providence, Logan, and Smithfield or at webtires.net.
The Murdoch Auto Team has been part of Utah's automotive fabric for over 100 years, a century of building a name you can trust.
And it's been a privilege for the Murdoch family to grow alongside this community. We are so proud to have served our friends and neighbors for generations.
Now we're carrying that same commitment forward as we head to a new horizon, driving together into a bigger, brighter future.
You've got to come and see us at any of our 10 locations across the Wasatch Front or online at murdochautotteam.com.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology is Cache Valley's most trusted name in hearing aid technology. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Daines, where he can customize a hearing improvement program to meet your needs. Call 753-HEAR or visit cachehearing.com.
Back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Looking for a place where everybody belongs? At High Output Wrestling Academy, they help athletes of every shape, size, and skill level maximize their potential while having fun. From beginner to advanced classes, you'll receive personalized coaching, skill tracking, and feedback to help you improve every step of the way. Ready to give it a shot? Your first class is free. Plus, you'll have the opportunity to compete in tournaments and measure your growth. Find out more at HOWAWrestling.org and discover where your child can thrive at High Output Wrestling Academy.
Come join us at the Wrestling Academy. It's awesome.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Coming up, so we're going to postpone this, actually. We're going to speak with representatives of the Cache Water District because, of course, as we're talking about water and drought, in the middle of all this, water districts are trying their best to plan for the future. But due to a ribbon cutting I can't complain about this, ribbon cutting of a cancer center opening here in Logan. You may have seen this in the news. Big story about it at CacheValleyDaily.com. The folks who are going to join us are not going to be available after all. Apparently things got delayed on a start time. And then with tomorrow's show already full, we're going to postpone this until next week, early next week. Jeannie Simmons and maybe others joining us from the Cache Water District. I did get a little bit of information, though, as we were talking about having this conversation today. The Cache Water District. So one of the questions that I asked, and we'll explore more on air when we get to this early next week instead of today, with the drought, with the considerations for growth and planning, and part of a lot of the talk recently has been exploring options for additional reservoirs, additional water storage options, things like that here in northern Utah. And, of course, there's competing interests for at least the Bear River water that spread, all the way down the Wasatch Front. And so I asked, is this becoming problematic? Is it getting harder for Cache Valley to plan as a single area with all this interest from other parts of the state? And the short answer on that, yes. So, again, we'll have to postpone this today. Just got word that the ribbon cutting was running long. And so we'll postpone this until early next week. But an important conversation we'll be having here on the show. Cache Valley needs to plan, but everyone else wants our water. It's a difficult needle to thread.